Hello and welcome to House Calls Real Docs, Real Talk. I'm your host, Mercedes Fuller. Today, we're going to reclaim our rhythm. What does that mean? It means let's shake off the gloom of this pandemic. Let's create healthy habits for 2022. We all know that the last 2 years have been tough on us physically and mentally. I'm going to say that one more time. The last 2 years have been tough on us physically and mentally. So it's time for us to commit to taking care of ourselves. And I'm so excited to help us all reclaim our rhythm. So let's get started. With me this morning is Dr. Holly Gooding. She is the Associate Professor of Pediatrics at Emory University School of Medicine in Atlanta, Georgia. Dr. Gooding, good morning and welcome.
Oh, thank you so much. I am thrilled to be here talking about this important topic of reclaiming our rhythm. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we're so happy that you're here. And I know that it's going to be some good results that are generated from this show. So let's dive in. Let's jump into health in the headlines. Good health is always newsworthy, so each week we select one current headline that ties back to our topic at hand. We bring it to our table, and then we ask our expert to respond. This week's entry comes to us from our very own AHA newsroom. The title is U.S. Adults' Blood Pressure Levels Increased During the COVID-19 Pandemic. Dr. Gooding, I know that I've experienced some elevated high blood pressure levels. And so I believe this is true, but tell us, what have you seen?
So, right now, I practice adolescent medicine and I take care of teenagers. And even in teenagers, we have seen elevations in blood pressure. Although we know from the study that you referenced that those experiences have been even more pronounced for women and for older adults. So, yes, blood pressure is up across the board.
All right, so that's why we have to have this conversation today, because it's time to shake some things off. Let's get into our main segment to answer viewer questions. We call this segment You Ask, We Answer. Our first question comes to us from Ted in Kansas, and this is what Ted wants to know. What are some practical tips that can help us reduce our stress? That's a good question, Ted. And is stress linked to heart attacks and strokes?
Great question, Ted. So, to answer that last part first, yes, stress has been linked to heart attacks and strokes. That's the bad news. But the good news is there is so much that we can do about it. So, first, I want to talk about some things related to our emotional health. One thing that's actually quite simple that we can all do is positive reframing. So, when we're stressed, it's easy to see everything in the negative. If we take the example of the pandemic, you may be thinking, I can't go anywhere, everyone is sick, my bills are piling up, and these are real issues, real stressors. I do not want to minimize those. You may not be able to control all these events in your life, but what you can control is how you react to them. So, for example, instead of saying, oh, I can't go anywhere in this pandemic, you can think, I am proud of myself for doing my part to make my community safe. Another example would be to think about keeping what's called a gratitude journal. So, studies have actually found that giving thanks and counting your blessings can help people sleep better, lower stress, and actually improve our interpersonal relationships. It's even been found to reduce inflammatory markers in people with a history of heart disease. So, just at the end of the day, thinking of 3 things that you're grateful for. And finally, we can't ignore physical health. I know we're going to talk more about that later. But things like moving your body, getting enough sleep, and eating the foods that you enjoy that are also heart healthy can be huge stress relievers.
Doctor, your insight is so spot on. And I'll tell you this, that positive reframing and the gratitude journal, those are two things that I make sure I practice every day. And I can kind of see the impact that it makes by just having those positive practices. And even people that I interact with on a daily basis, if I am just a little off, even the barista at the coffee shop will tell me, did you work on your goals today? Did you record in your gratitude journal? So very great tips, doctor. Thank you so much for that. Keely has a question for us, and she wants to know, why is it especially important that we reach women now and talk about prioritizing their health?
So, heart disease is the number one killer of women. Thank you for that question, Keely. Sounds like you may know that, but many women still don't know this. And women face unique risks for cardiovascular disease, some related to their menstrual history, their pregnancy history, things like starting periods early, regular periods, things related to pregnancy. So it's so important for women to know this and to bring those things up with their healthcare provider, especially if they're seeing somebody that's different who they were seeing for some of those pregnancy related issues who may not know that history. And we know that women often prioritize taking care of others before taking care of themselves. We know that from a lot of work that the American Heart Association has done through their Women's Health Survey. And this can be a huge barrier to women's ability to engage in heart healthy behaviors because if you're worried about everyone else around you, whether you're juggling younger children, older adults, work and home responsibilities, it can be really difficult to focus on your own health. And we have to help women to do that.
Absolutely. That's a great insight, doctor. Here's another question coming to us from Roy. And Roy wants to know how many lives could be saved if CPR is given after cardiac arrest, and who is eligible for this type of training?
Such a great question. I actually looked into the answer for this because I wanted to be able to answer it well. And it is estimated that 100 to 200,000 lives each year just here in the United States could be saved if CPR was performed early enough. It's an amazing, amazing, huge number of people. We know that CPR can double or even triple a victim's chance of survival if they suffer a cardiac arrest when they are in their community. So, the American Heart Association trains more than 23 million people globally every year in how to do safe and effective CPR. Anyone is eligible for training. The AHA has courses for kids in schools called Be the Beat, and for community members with little or no healthcare training called Being a Heart Saver. Courses can be up to about $40, but they're often offered free at community centers, YMCAs, churches, things like that near you.
There's training out there for everybody. I love it. Now, this question, doctor, it's from Rebecca, but I'm going to share this question with Rebecca because this is also my question as well. There are so many diets out there. Which one is effective? I know I've tried like three just in 2022. So, can you explain what's included in a healthy diet?
Yes, happy to. So, addition to my little women's heart health pin here, I have my 7 pin, and that stands for 7 simple techniques that the American Heart Association has found will help you to live a long and healthy life. And a key one that underlies all of the others is a healthy diet. So, what does the American Heart Association say is a heart healthy diet? It's actually pretty simple. It's fruits and vegetables, trying to get 4 servings a day, or as I like to say to my kids, one with each meal and one for a snack. At least 3 servings a day of whole grains, having healthy proteins in the diet, ideally things like fish twice a week, nuts and beans, trying to limit red and processed meat to twice a week or less. And finally, trying to limit our sodium and our added sugars in our diet. So I know that's a lot, but it's actually pretty simple if you focus on whole foods and mostly plant based things. Or, in the words of Michael Pollan, eat real food, mostly plants, not too much. I really want people to focus on that as opposed to a specific diet like paleo or low carb or any of the others out there, because everybody's context is different. Their culture is different. The foods that are available to them are different. The foods they enjoy are different. Everybody can find foods that they like that are real foods, mostly plants, not too much.
Wow. Wow. I'm over here taking notes because that's one of those areas that I know I struggle with because there's just so many options out there. And I love the way that you broke everything down, especially the fruits part, one with every meal and one for a snack. I think I'm going to take the notes from your kiddos as well. Here's a question coming to us from Sam in Richmond, Virginia. And this is a good one. Are music and mental well being interconnected?
Yes, this is such another great question. I did have to look a little bit into this research, Sam, and I'm so glad you asked this question because, yes, I think we can all appreciate that music is such a powerful tool for improving our physical and emotional health. It can motivate our physical activity. Music with a certain cadence or a beat can actually help people exercise for longer or at a higher intensity than they would otherwise. That's been proven in the literature, but it also has direct mental health benefits. In fact, a study just published last year showed that music therapy can ease pain, anxiety, and depression amongst people recovering from coronary bypass surgery. So we know from both our contemporary culture and historical ones that music has been used forever for its healing properties. And I think it can even help us tap into some of that gratitude that we were talking about earlier. So, yes, embrace music, please, for your physical and your emotional health.
Embrace music. I love it. Jamie from Manchester, New Hampshire wonders, what's one tip that you would give to a busy woman who is overloaded with work and family?
Well, this is one that hits home for me. And I would say to Jamie, the first thing is just be kind to yourself and try to pick just one thing. I think often, as I talked about, women and all of us are juggling so many things, working from home, schooling from home, taking care of others in this pandemic, especially, that adding something to our day can feel really overwhelming. So just try to pick one thing that's going to be a part of your day to help you reduce stress, be more active, and eat healthy. So, for example, maybe you like to read to your kids at bedtime. Can you incorporate a little moment of gratitude with them there? Because that's actually good practice for them to develop too. Or maybe you can park a little farther when you go to the grocery store. Or if you're lucky to live close to your school, like I do, you can walk your kids to school in the morning to get a little extra of that physical activity in. Or we can go back to our fruit example. Brainstorm with the other people in your life, whether it's kids or older adults, or maybe even just your animals. Like, what are some things that we should incorporate into our diet today and do something together as a group, because we know those social bonds are so important too, both to helping us feel better and also helping us sustain those activities.
I love how you say brainstorm with the other people in your life, because that also encourages healthy dialogue about our health. So
Exactly.
that's a form of checking in with the people that we care about. I love that. Our last question comes from Nate, and Nate wonders, why is it important to lower high blood pressure, and what recommendations do you have for someone with uncontrolled blood pressure?
So, blood pressure is one of those 7 factors that we talked about earlier, and it's a really critical one. And if we are able to help to reduce our blood pressure, we know that that contributes to living longer, healthier lives. So, how do we go about that? I think the first thing is just knowing that you have elevated blood pressure, because many people don't feel anything at all. And so, making sure that you're getting that blood pressure checked either at your healthcare provider's office or at a community screening near you, so that you know what your blood pressure is. Ideally, you want to get it checked at least annually and more frequently if it's high. So, if it is elevated, what are things you can do? Well, certainly consult with that healthcare provider of yours to get some tailored recommendations. But for all people, being more physically active, reducing the salt intake, those are two of the biggest. And then getting regular sleep and reducing our stress levels, like we talked about before, can also really help. Some people are going to need medications in addition to all of those things, and that's okay too. Again, talk to your trusted healthcare provider and get that blood pressure under control.
Dr. Gooding, thank you for helping us reclaim our rhythm. I feel calmer, a little bit more calmer now after this conversation, and I know that our viewers feel a little bit better too. So, is there anything else that you like to add before leaving us today?
I just want to thank you for the opportunity as we are going into this new year. I do think social connections, like we've talked about a couple times, the ability to talk with others is so important, especially in this time where we've all been so isolated. So I want to thank you for doing this series and for inviting me on. I have loved chatting with you today. It's made me feel better too.
Doctor, I feel so much better. And I told you this was like a reunion between two old friends. So thank you so much. And again, uh, thank you for all that you do, because not only are you out there helping to save lives, but you're bringing us so much useful information that we can apply practically in our daily lives and well-being. So thank you so much for all you do. And friends, that does it for our show today. We want to make sure that you catch up on all of our previous episodes, because like the doctor shared, we provide so much great information out there and we don't want you to miss out. So go to the YouTube playlist and search for House Calls, and make sure that you not only subscribe but share this content with your friends and family members, because we want them to be healthy too. We encourage you all to take some time to reclaim your rhythm and take back your lives and focus on your health and your family's health. Take a deep breath. Take some time to breathe. It's all within your reach. We'll see you next time. Take care, my friends.
It's been 2 years. We're tired. We're burnt out. We're just trying to get by. But today is the day. It's time to reclaim your rhythm. Pick your playlist and put on your favorite red look. With your jams turned up, get moving. Bring the good vibes and take back control of your health and mental well-being. Little steps add up to big changes. From dancing with your kids in the kitchen to grooving with your girlfriend, staying active is one of the best ways to keep your body and mind healthy. Stress can lead to unhealthy habits, and managing stress means managing your health. So reclaim control of your schedule and build in time to invest in a healthier you. Know your numbers and make moves to help keep your blood pressure on track. Go Red for Women will be here every step of the way. So let's do this together and create healthy habits today that will lead to healthier tomorrows. How will you reclaim your rhythm?
Learn more about House Calls, Real Docs, Real Talk, and submit your questions at heart.org/housecalls.